felt self-delete in a long time, you know. I felt sad, or I felt like I needed someone to talk to, but I haven't felt like self-delete-ish in like years, for real, you know. Whew. Yeah, if you ever feel that way, just actually literally try to call the number, because they do answer pretty quickly. It doesn't take more than like 5 minutes, really. And it's not like they're going to snap their fingers and make things magically happen for you and fix your life, but like obviously that's not what people who want to self-delete are looking for. I'm just being realistic. They're not going to tell you anything that you don't already know, for real. They're just going to tell you what I think you need to really, really hear at that moment. So if you ever feel that way, for real, like you want to self-delete, literally at least try to call the number. If you feel like nobody cares about you, that you know, okay, that's probably true or not. But whether it is or not, do you care about you? So, you know, try to call the number. I think when I felt the way I felt 2 years ago, when I really thought I wanted to self-delete, I don't think I needed to call that number. But I think other times when I felt like about close to that, I think once or twice, I did try to call that number. Just to see what it was about, just so I don't turn away something that could help. So it wasn't too corny. It was just like, you know better, like, you know. Don't feel like it's only for the you know, because some people, when they feel like they want to self-delete, they feel like nobody cares or feels the way they feel. I feel like everyone cares about lame-ish, like sometimes people that want to self-delete, they're jobless or homeless, or they have family issues or car issues, or a conjunction of those things, or they just have no friends, or they have some things going on, or sickness or illness, and nobody else is going through this particular rarity, or blah blah blah. And it's like, sometimes it's good to talk to a stranger because there's no bias, and those strangers are literally, remember, they might be being paid to do their job, which is to keep you from doing that. But some of them might have felt that way before, hence being hired. So you don't want to just write it off just because, oh, it's just a money scheme, or it's just, they don't actually care. God works through people, so the care is somewhere. You have to find it. If you don't care about yourself, you can't expect anybody to care about you. You know, that's just true.
There's been moments where I've definitely felt the pressure of life.
I feel like I was not meeting expectations of my parents, so I just obviously was feeling like a failure, and that my life was also just going to be a constant failure.
I just genuinely feel, I don't want to say bad. I do feel bad for like men, because it's societally not acceptable to be moping around, pussyfooting, bitching, moaning, crying, because men are supposed to lead, right? From what we're taught. And so leaders generally appear poignant, assertive, stoic. Nothing bothers them. They're just rich and big and strong. And it's like, they were a baby boy at one point, right? Just like women were baby girls. So you have to have empathy. Like, don't put up with men that don't know how to take accountability. Or women, but I'm saying it doesn't matter, but if somebody feels a way, you can tell something is bothering them. And of course, it's up to them to communicate those things. Just if you know, show as much empathy as you can. Don't be like cold. Just because it's a man doesn't mean they can just get over things, you know. Or they don't. Like, men cry. They do. And they can. You can cry. You can cry sometimes as much as you need. Because you're gonna feel the way you feel anyway, so it doesn't make you less of a man or who you are, because you're who you are regardless. So if you want to be more of yourself, or like be who you want to be, you just do what you want to do, feel how you want to feel. Don't be disrespectful with your feelings, you know, but feel them.
I have attempted twice, but it's something I'm very open with talking about, because I think if we want to normalize mental health, that means we have to have the uncomfortable conversations about it.
I think we all have.
And it's so funny because this umbrella term, mental health, I think people use the term so wrong. It's like everyone has mental health. There is mental health awareness that people need to normalize, because anytime someone mentions the word mental or the phrase mental health, it's just automatically like wrote off as like crazy, when the word or the words itself aren't supposed to come with a connotation. It's supposed to be something that people are aware of. Physical health, emotional health. Why is mental health coming with so much of a connotation from like society sometimes? Like, it's new that we're aware of how people's brains really work and react to programming, right? Because this is like a computer up here. The brain is like, it's just running off of subconscious things that you consciously can change. But it's so complex because the brain is not just a slime ball. It's full of like a bunch of different sections and things that connect and yada yada. So it just kind of reminds you of people, like people connect and body parts connect. So what's the big deal about when people want to talk about mental health? And I think it's because a lot of people are made to feel crazy if they don't follow the lines or follow the dots that society has set out for people. And there's nothing wrong with not wanting to do everything like the next person. But what you do with what you have or who you are is going to make much of a difference. So like, it's a saying like, crazy as crazy does. So everyone is actually crazy. Some people are just better at hiding their crazy. So people can appear extremely normal and extremely traditional, and they could be like, honestly, really crazy. Or somebody could appear crazy and emotional and reactive, and they're just having a moment, you know? Or it's just an effect from a cause, or like a domino effect. It's just life, right? So mental health doesn't equal crazy. Crazy is crazy. It is a spectrum for anything. The awareness is that itself. There's different parts of mental health to like talk about and, you know, understand. So if someone's mental health is pretty good or not the best, it doesn't make them better than the next person, or vice versa. It doesn't make somebody crazy and they're normal or fine. Somebody's mental health could be perfectly fine and their emotional health is not there. Like, I'm somebody that's emotional health is not where I want it to be, and that's just that comes from a slew of different things. Like, I've used substances and stuff in the past that didn't help me process traumatic things or emotions. So then you deal with that later on. That's an example. Some people are emotionally able to contain themselves and they need rewiring or something. Some people's physical health is obviously, it ranges from different things. So, you know, you gotta work on all of that.
Suck it up.
Being a man, like, just couldn't show your feelings was really, like, one of the biggest things that got me growing up, yeah.
I would fall and bruise my knee, and I would be like, ow! My dad would like slap me or kick me and be like, what are you doing? Just be strong.
Have you ever considered committing?
No.
We don't have a manual, right? We don't have a manual in this life. We're just following what trusted people are doing. So like, you're born into a family or you're born into an area, you're trusting who is around you, right? It's like a tribe, or like, it's like animals. It's humans, right? So it's like, basically I'm saying you only know what you know. So if you're taught that the sky is called blue, and you know that blue is defined as what you see, what if somebody sees that color differently? You would never know because you don't have their set of eyes, but they know what blue is defined as, what they see. So if let's say there's a household that's extremely Christian and their guardians teach them a way of living, and it's that only is the right way. And then there's another way to live that's a right way, right? But that blue is not this blue. Or like, this blue is wrong because I see it this shade or this way. And it's like, but I see it this way. That's my blue. Yeah.
That hits deep because my dad committed suicide, you know what I mean, when I was 10 years old. And I seen the pain that inflicted on my family. Like, I wouldn't want to do that to my family.
I created a very strange rule around the fact that now I can't ever do it. Since my uncle took that slot of suicide, I can't now be another person in the family to just do that when I have clear evidence of how it affects everyone.
When people feel like they want to self-delete, they just feel like nobody around them accepts like them. That's really it. Because there's a lot of pressure around that decision. There's weight. So that means their mind is clogged with a lot of negativity that needs to be dispersed, right? So that negativity, where is that coming from? That would be coming from lack of a support system. And it sometimes feels impossible to find that support system, especially if you're a man, because men just love to pretend like they're okay, or they were taught to just be okay, right? People were taught to just do that, but especially men. So it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. Just if someone's made to feel like they're not allowed to feel their feelings, it makes them feel really alone. It really like no one will ever care, because you just are accused of being something you don't want to be, or you're just being
I mean, I've known people that have, like, quite a few people that have done it. I'm getting kind of numb to it, which is totally sad.
There have been times where I felt like really like in a hole, you know? Just thoughts of like being on a crosswalk and being like, I wouldn't mind if a car hit me.
Oh yeah, and sometimes self-deleting isn't just like an act, like an event. Sometimes people have the ideology, or like maybe that's their way of living. They actually don't care anymore, but they can't just up and self-delete. So some people do this thing called like floating or depersonalization or whatever the F it is, if they've had like a long-term use of like escapism through whatever it is. And they do things that exhibit signs of just not caring about the future, right? Not to say you should be hyper worried about your future and or focus on your past. It's good to sometimes forget that ish. Actually, perfect. But yeah, you don't want to be too worried about the future too much. You have anxiety, so think it doesn't just look one way. And also, people that want to self-delete don't just look like they're mopey and dirty or like they don't have any friends and they don't do things. And sometimes people just move that way. That's just your loved ones, but everybody has their own things to deal with. So you can't watch people 24/7. But I'm saying it doesn't just look one way. Like, I feel like you could tell if someone wants to be here or wants to be alive through how they live their life. So if they take care of themselves for real, or they show signs of like, willingness and like tenacity, or like, I determined to live my life the way I want to live it, or like live my life. And some people, they're existing. So they're just chasing thrills or just doing self-destructive things too much, and it's like, oh my God, talk to God.
Do you feel comfortable talking about them?
Yeah, I think it's good that we do talk about it nowadays until we start getting honest and realizing just because I have these thoughts or I've acted on them doesn't make me a bad person. It doesn't make me a sad person or a sick person. It just means I went through some shit.
And yeah, some people feel like if you talk about things like this, you're seeking attention, or you need a round of applause, or like it's some egotistical thing, you know, like, I don't know why anybody would feel like if someone were to tell their truth or tell how they feel or talk about how they feel, that's seen as a way to seek attention. That's actually supposed to be seen as like a testimony. You're paving the way for someone that could possibly go through the same thing. So you want to have an angle of life. Sometimes people need to see that something is there to believe it, even though it should be the other way around. That's why it's important to talk about things and share things, even if you feel like it's not necessary. Because not everyone knows what you know. Not everyone knows everything. Nobody knows everything. So, you never know what you could find or what you could run into. And then, yeah, therapy. Therapy is really good. I've only had therapy, like, honestly, for like a year, and I kind of was consistent for like really half of it total, but I went throughout the entire year. Like, I would go to therapy like 1 week, the next week I would skip a week, maybe go next week. I was going like consecutively, but I wasn't really consistent AF. So I think therapy does help with not only wanting to self-delete, but just like, if you're somebody that doesn't believe in therapy, or it makes you feel crazy, it's not supposed to do that. Again, you're not seeking attention. Everybody is crazy in their own way, right? Everybody really needs somebody to talk to. That's why humans are on the planet, right? So, if someone is trained to talk to you about a particular issue, and you'd rather self-destruct than talk to somebody that's trained, and you think that makes you crazy, crazy as crazy does. Like, what do you really care about? Now, I know when you feel like you want to self-delete, you don't even want help that you need, right? Some people, they genuinely turn it away entirely because it just confirms what they've been fighting, or how they don't want to feel. They don't even want to feel sometimes. Like, they don't want to feel that type of thing. But I think if you just drop pride, which a lot of people that want to self-delete don't admit to feeling it's underlyingly a big pride thing, because you feel like life has to go your way. If it never did go your way, you feel like it has to. And it's like you have to either help yourself and save yourself any way you can, helpfully. And I'm talking even if that means spending time with yourself or going somewhere that's just not where you are. Sometimes your environment and your surroundings and your company can really play on and weigh on you and emphasize those feelings. So it's really good to separate yourself and really meditate with those uncomfortable things and thoughts. And spend as much time as you need. Now, don't spend time alone if you're somebody that can't do that. But I'm saying, think about it. Because life is large, okay? It's also short. So you might think one day you're born, you live a long life like we're taught that we live, and you die, but you never know anything. I don't think people that go to amusement parks sometimes, those rare cases where something happens, they didn't think that was gonna happen. Or people that cross the street and a car is not paying attention, or a drunk driver is driving and you're driving and you're driving just fine and you didn't know that somebody's being an idiot, and you just never know. So you count your blessings and you really enjoy your days and you take care of yourself as best as you can. Sometimes you do have to be your own superhero, because not to say that nobody wants to help anyone, and that idea is stupid. Like, you can always find help somewhere. Don't feel like if you can help yourself, doing the same thing over and over again and then feeling the same way is help, you know? 'Cause the real help is in change and conversations that people don't like to have. And that's uncomfortable. So sometimes you do have to do what you got to do to have those conversations. As long as you just have them, and as long as you do the uncomfortable thing. Even if it's baby steps. Because no human is walking this earth perfectly. Like, it's impossible. So there's a model for what humans are supposed to be. And humans will not reach that point, I don't think, for a long time. I'm just not even gonna put a timestamp on it. And you know why humans will never reach that? Because we're ever changing. That's why. You don't have to feel crazy, because you're just part of a bigger equation. And people that turn away therapy, or like what is it? Feel like they want to self-delete. I'm not saying nobody should be forced to do anything. You shouldn't be forced to live a way you don't want to live. Not at all. Or you should not be forced to go talk about things you don't want to talk about at a time you're not ready. But don't say that's not helpful, you know? If you know you need even just a little bit. What you think you need sometimes needs you more than you need it. And you know, consumerism. Bullshit. That's just